Good morning, Oracles. Well, today it is time for the monthly update of my income and investments. So one of the reasons I do this is many of you have asked for it in the past. Plus, I always harp on, cash flow generation is so key, especially in years like this, where there really doesn't seem like there's many places to invest. But when you're looking at a bear market, those are the times where you can breed a fortune in the future. So you want cash flow generation in order to be able to take advantage of these situations. So having a stockpile of cash can help, but by having more cash flow coming in, you have more agility to be able to invest in these times. So for me, I like to share with you guys on a monthly basis what my entire month has looked like when it comes to cash flow generation, how I have grown, how I have invested that money. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying you guys should follow this yourselves, but it's to show that I practice what I preach, and it's just giving you guys ideas as to what you could potentially do for your own portfolios. And now all of this information I do update on a weekly basis over on Patreon. On Patreon, I also do share all of my expenses so you guys can see that side of the equation as well, plus all of my price targets for Tesla through 2032, my production forecast through 2024, and my valuation model. Now, I apologize to those of you guys who are over there as patrons already. My valuation model, one of the formulas got screwed up, so I need to straighten that out. But otherwise, if you guys want to check that out over there, that link is down in the description. Otherwise, I will break down my income investments for you now. So now for my full-time job, I broke it down by take-home versus gross pay, just because I can't use all the gross pay because the government needs to steal a large chunk of my money. So I do what is take-home because that for me is what I can actually use to invest. So take home for the month of July, I did get paid my quarterly bonus, so it is higher than normal. That is $7,296 that I brought in for the month of July from my full-time job. Now from YouTube, and thank you all so much for watching and supporting the channel, I made $747 from YouTube alone last month. From Patreon, I made $48, so again, thank you to all the patrons over there. And now I am also a Beachbody coach. That is another source of income that I have for myself. I help other people get healthy and fit because you gotta think about it, if you are investing in your wealth, you can't enjoy that wealth unless you invest in your health as well. So I do both to make sure that I can enjoy all of this wealth that I'm building for the future. So for that, I made $30 last month. And then I've got freebies, and my freebies are like, I've got a BlockFi card, and I get 1.5% back in Bitcoin for all of my purchases that I make on my BlockFi card. Now for me, it's not debt because I'm literally just using that for the freebies. I have no credit card debt, so I pay that off instantly. That's just, to me, free money coming in. Now, what's great about BlockFi is I like Ethereum also. So I do get interest back on all of my Bitcoin that is in there, and the interest I get back is in Ethereum. Pretty cool. And then I also have a Cash App card. On the Cash App card, every single week, I get 5% back on one purchase at a restaurant. I take my son out every single week to a restaurant, so I'm getting, it's not much, maybe like $2.50 for every single time that he and I go out once per week. But I'm not going to complain because it's basically free money. So in total, I brought home around $8,157. So now how did I invest all of that money? So my 401k for work is slightly different because that comes out pre-tax. I will be adjusting that soon so that it can come out post-tax so I don't have to pay taxes on it in the future. But for right now, it is pre-tax, so it's a little offsetting from the income. So into my 401k, I put in about $1,531. Now I do have a 401k that is outside of my job, and I put in $25 a month into that. And I was doing that originally because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to carry over my work's 401k because of the way it was structured initially. So I wanted this on the outside so I could roll over into it. I can now take my work's 401k outside of here, so I will be merging those two together. And the next is stocks. And in stocks this month, I put in $775. So I put in $155 every single week. That is $50 of cash that I put into my portfolio to sit there because my goal was to get to 10% cash, which I have now achieved. And then I also put $100 every week into Tesla. My goal for Tesla is 69%. I am now up to 65%. So I do have two other stocks that I'm still dollar cost averaging into. Those are SoFi and Nvidia. Once I hit full shares in both of those, I will be taking that money and then investing it into Tesla or cash as well. Now, I do also add a little bit to crypto, not much because I get all the freebies and I want crypto to be about 5% of my portfolio. It's a little bit higher than that right now, but I do see it doing relatively well long term. So I just want it to be a small piece of my portfolio, understand it's going to be very volatile. So the only crypto I'm actually adding to currently is $1 a day I put into Dogecoin. So that is $35 a month that I am putting into there. So because there was a 5-week month this month, I had $35 go in. Next, I have my IRA, and in my IRA, I put $575 in this past month. So I did the math out, and I can put in $115 every single week into my IRA, and that will cap me out at the $6,000 mark at the end of the year. So in my IRA right now, it's split about half and half between QYLD and Tesla. So between those two, I have seen some pretty decent growth over the course of the year. And from QYLD alone, I am making about $43 every single month when it comes to dividends. So that's a really nice bonus, especially during the year that we have been having. And I also have an HSA account. This is my health savings account. I'm able to invest in that tax-free as well. So that one I can cap at $3,000 for the year. And this past month, I put in $150 into that. It's very much like a 401k. So there's a lot of different funds that I could put into there. Once I cross the $10,000 mark, I can start investing in individual stocks. But because I just started adding to that recently, it's going to take me a little while before I can get to that $10,000 mark. Either way, I've got a nice little extra 401k type package plan that I can invest some tax-free money into. And lastly, I've got cash. So for those of you who have been following the channel for a while, know that I am looking to be purchasing a house. Another one of the cash flow generation sources I am looking to have is getting rental money coming in from properties that I own. So I'm looking to be buying my first house. When we see the markets start to cool off for the housing market, that's what I'm going to look to buy. I'm still saving up as much money as I can for a down payment and for any other expenses that come up along with it. So this past month, I was able to contribute $3,000 to that savings account to be able to buy my first house. And so grand total from all of my investments, I put in $6,091 between all of them. The rest of my money obviously went to expenses. And again, if you do want to see my expenses, which are pretty darn boring, you can certainly check those out over on Patreon, but that's totally up to you guys. One of the reasons I like doing these videos and I like tracking all of my income and my investments is it's a way that I can learn myself. I can learn my spending habits. I can learn my investment habits. I can learn how my investments have been changing over time if I need to tweak them. And so it's been nice to see this because, all year long I've been dollar cost averaging. If we got little bumps, I would sell out of some of the stocks that I didn't like so much, maybe for a little profit or a minimal loss. And I've been able to reinvest that money. And so because of that and how I've been trading this year with the DCA and following that method, I went from, I'm still down year to date on my portfolio. So just to be straight up in front with you guys, I am not positive on my portfolio. However, I have brought in and made gains of about $500. And last month, at the end of the month, my portfolio was down 25%. But because I have been dollar cost averaging after this past month, I'm only down 13%. So again, if we are expecting a much stronger second half than a first half, because I dollar cost averaged along the way, I can anticipate significantly higher gains for the rest of the year than if I had just sat back and done nothing. Now, again, many of you have also talked about waiting for the bottom to hit and you're holding cash. Again, nobody knows where the bottom is. Perhaps we already did hit the bottom. We don't know. Maybe we do have further to fall and that cash hoard will do well. This is why I played the middle. This is why I gave myself 10% cash so that if we do trickle down even further, I'll have some cash left over to put aside. But if we have already hit the bottom and we are now climbing back up out of it, I have dollar cost averaged along the way to be able to get myself a lower cost basis, which for me meant that I brought Tesla from an $850 cost basis down to $794. So I'm very happy about that and my progress there. And so looking forward, looks like the plan that I have been utilizing all along has been working. I will continue to do that, keeping my expenses low, trying to generate as much cash as possible. I am looking to get my real estate license, had some issues with that. With the licensing board. So working on getting that all straightened out with them so I can actually register. They screwed up the expiration date and they gave me 1 day to register instead of 1 year. So working on getting that straightened out, but that's going to be another source of cash flow for me to be able to invest in the future. And just having all of this cash flow gives you the agility to make decisions that, maybe you wouldn't have to make in the past. For instance, those of you who are sitting on a pile of cash wondering when should I deploy my cash, it's good to have that option, but if you have both a stockpile of cash and cash flow coming in, you've got the option of both. This is kind of like the place where Tesla's sitting right now. They have amazing cash flow generation and they have a giant stockpile of cash. Gives them a lot of agility to do whatever they want with their business and be able to succeed no matter what happens. For instance, like what we saw back in Q2. So again, this is all of my information for you guys. I like to be open and transparent with you. If you have any questions, by all means, ask away. I am an open book. Just remember that I usually give this information first to the patrons over on Patreon, and then I will share it with you guys at the end of the month. Otherwise, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments about this. Let me know what your strategies are yourselves, because, you know, I'm always learning myself. So maybe you guys have a good strategy that I could adopt and maybe improve my situation as well. And for anyone interested in any of the freebies that I get, if you're in the US or in areas that can that have access to them, the BlockFi card and the Cash App card, I have links to down in the description below, so you guys could take advantage of those also. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And again, that Patreon link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.